Coming up on this episode of the Spiro Podcast.
Craig and I have said this for years about the conference. It's probably the only time of the year and only place with these conferences that you'll be in a room of 200 or 300 other people that get you. I always use the example where they're the same people that as they drive around town with their spouse, significant other, they go, hey, I shot that house. Yes, I shot that house. It had this cool thing, or it was a disaster. All the people in the room did that.
Welcome to the Spiro Podcast, managing your real estate photography and videography business. With your hosts, Todd Kivimaki and Craig Magrum.
Hi, and welcome to the Spiro Podcast, managing your real estate photography and videography business. Spiro is a software platform designed to help you not only manage your day-to-day business and what you do in real estate media, but also help you grow it and scale it as well. I'm Craig Magrum. Welcome to the podcast, and glad, as always, to have you back if you're a longtime listener or viewer. And if you're a first-time viewer, maybe you learned about Spiro or heard about the podcast at the PMRE Conference or the REPP Conference here in 2024. Welcome. We're glad to have you as a viewer or a listener, depending where you're coming to this podcast from. So, got a great topic. I kind of hinted at it a little bit already, but first let me introduce our founder, our owner, and Spiro Podcast co-host, Todd Kivimaki. Welcome, Todd.
Hey, Craig, it's great to be back here. Great to be back to the flatlands of Ohio. Exciting conference today. So, yes, it was so good to see many of you. We're going to get to that, but it's great to be here. Craig, give me a 30-second for Spiro Updates.
Okay.
Is that okay?
I'm going to time you.
Okay. So if you guys don't want to know it, just skip ahead. I think on Spotify, if you hit skip, it goes 30 seconds. So you'll fast forward in time and get those 30 seconds back.
And we put the chapter markers on there too, so you can skip over.
We do, yes. So anyway. We are working in Spiro right now to rearrange how video upload into the system is done. So currently, we integrate Vimeo accounts, and at our rep company, we have used Vimeo and love Vimeo. There's a lot of reasons why it's great. The problem with Vimeo is they've changed their pricing. So since we've been recommending Vimeo, they've changed a lot. And not in a good way. So we are pivoting out of that. We hear you guys. We see it. We don't like writing a huge check to Vimeo, and we don't want you to have to do that. So we are revamping that. We're going to integrate with the Dropbox integration, or we're going to use the Dropbox integration. It's going to be fabulous. It's going to be streamlined, and you'll be able to upload into the property website editor. We'll take it straight to your Dropbox. So we're going to give you some relief there, and excited about that.
Absolutely.
There's probably 6 or 7 other smaller updates that are coming along. I'll give you the list, but I at least just wanted to take this opportunity to let you know about that update. We hear you. We understand it. We feel the pain too. So we're going to change it for you guys. I mean, we already wrote the check at WOW. So yeah, we won't have to write the check next year, but we already wrote Vimeo a big check this year. But anyways, that's my problem, not yours.
All right. Well, good deal. Thanks for the update.
Yeah, Craig, can I have 30 more seconds?
You want 30 more?
30 more.
We charge interest for it, but okay.
Okay. This is not selling anything. This is a free webinar. So Shannon and I are doing a webinar on broker deals on January 9th at 2 p.m. Eastern. So we presented at REPP Conference about broker deals. There's always a lot of great questions after our broker deal presentation, because this is something that we fine-tuned over 20 years at WOW. But it is probably the largest indicator that has led to just enormous growth for us. So we want to take a little more time in a situation where we have some time for Q&A, and we don't, and we have a little more flexibility with time. So we're going to record it, but free webinar, click the link below. Again, that's January 9th at 2 p.m. Eastern.
Awesome. Thanks for the updates, Todd. Appreciate it. All right. So we kind of hinted a little bit to what this week's topic is for the podcast, and it's a recap on the 2024 PMRE Conference and also the REPP Conference with Eli Jones and his team. And we've got 2 guests. They've familiar faces. They've been on the podcast before, just kind of share their thoughts and impressions as first-time attenders. I think you guys were first-time attenders, right? Yeah. Yeah. All right. The
Yes.
silent nod. Yes.
Yes.
So welcome to Jess Paxson and Steve Musser from Wow Video Tours, part of our team. Guys, good to have you on the podcast.
Good
Yeah,
to be
thanks,
here.
Greg, for having us.
Cool. All right, Todd, you took several people to both conferences this year. I'm just going to kind of hand it to you and share with those that are watching and listening right now that maybe we're not able to make it to those conferences. What's kind of the purpose of each of those conferences? And yeah, let's just start there. What was the purpose for Wow Video Tours and Spiro to go there this year?
Yeah, great question, Craig. So first, I just want to mention that you were missed at the conferences. People were looking for you. People were looking for your cardboard cutout. This is pressure, but not pressure that I think people want to see you there next year, Craig. So
I have a face for radio though. So
yeah,
do they really want to?
Well, I mean, with a couple tattoos on it, you'll feel right at home in Vegas with those face tattoos. So that is.
So I got to tell a funny story real quick.
Okay.
So last night I texted Todd, my youngest son, Zeke, he's 9 years old, 4th grade. I get home from my shoots for the day and, he comes out and gives me the big hug, which always makes you feel good as a dad, right? Except he has these tattoos all over his face. Those stick-on tattoos, for the kids. And immediately I thought Post Malone. And I'm like, I have to show Todd this. I forgot to send you the pictures, Todd. But yeah, my youngest, I called him Post the rest of the night. I'm not gonna publish his picture here on the podcast, but just imagine my son with little tattoos all over his face.
All over his face. I love that, Craig.
Yeah,
I love that. That's what you should do in Vegas next year.
That's what should I?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's move on. Thank you for the sentiments. Those of you that mentioned wanting to see me, I do appreciate it. Pete Stagel from Pete sent me a message. He's like, "Why aren't you here?" I'm like, "Well, maybe next year."
There it is.
So I appreciate that, guys.
Everybody send notes in to pressure Craig into attending next year.
All right. Well, thank you for that. So.
Yeah, I was just going with Craig. I was going with the awkward silence there. I was just loving. I was like, I'm just going to be quiet here and let him just wade his way out of this.
Those of you listening, you don't see my face. It is turning red right now.
Okay, I'm done giving you a hard time, Craig, for now. So let's go. So the reason why, Las Vegas conference. Now for us, we had always attended as Spiro. So we had gone, Craig went with me the first year and Nick went with me the last year. Eli Jones was there with me. And then this year we decided to take the Spiro team, but also the WOW team. Mm-hmm. And so for us, this is a good cost for us. It's an investment for all of you. It's an investment because one, you need to get out there. You need to stay there. You need to pay for entrance to the conference or conferences. You're going to eat, which is not cheap anymore in Vegas. At least I didn't find the cheap places. You're going to do something fun probably, and you're going to spend some good money. Plus, it's your time going out there. This year, I wanted to take the team from WOW, Steve and Jess, because I thought it was important. And just to walk back maybe a year and a half in history. At WOW, we have really gone through this transition where Steve and Jess have stepped up and they're running the company. So they're making the big decisions now that I used to make. They're doing a fabulous job and they have a lot more responsibility in their hands. And one thing that we historically have not done great, I have not done great, is celebrate and take time to enjoy. Now, we take some time for education, but we could probably take more. So this was a time where I thought, well, heck, these are industry conferences we can enjoy out in Vegas. I mean, we had a good time. I'll let them tell you, but I thought it was important that they have an opportunity at least to go because it was team building. It was time where we could learn. And also, Craig and I have said this for years about the conference. It's probably the only time of the year and only place with these conferences that you'll be in a room of 200 or 300 other people that get you. I always use the example where they're the same people that as they drive around town with their spouse, significant other, they go, hey, I shot that house. Yes, I shot that house. It had this cool thing, or it was a disaster. All the people in the room did that. Yep. So that was kind of the cool thing, the sense of community. And so that was our goal with going to Vegas as a WOW team, as a real estate media team. Of course, the goal is a little bit different as a Spiro team, but that was the goal, as the WOW team. So Jess, let's throw it to you. Give us, what did we achieve our goal in Vegas? What was it good for? Were there things that we didn't think about? What was your takeaway from the goal for WOW to go to Vegas?
Yeah, I think my overall goal was just to sit and learn and see if there was anything that was being brought into the industry that I didn't know about that I could bring back to WOW to help streamline processes. Just kind of overall get a glimpse of kind of how we're doing in the industry and like what others are doing. So I made some really good connections out there, met a lot of really great people. I think my takeaway on it, which I know is like what's already really important to us, is relationships. And that's something they continuously preached on, is like relationships with our clients, our teammates, our vendors, things like that. So it was nice to sit and listen to those conversations. Obviously we pulled a lot of relatable things from that. It was nice to see the vendors face to face too, and kind of get a gauge on, kind of what they're doing, what they're leaning into that we may not hear via an update on an email and things like that. They shared a little bit more openly, which was nice. There's always ways that we're looking to improve some of our products. And so to kind of chat with them and kind of see where they're going to, I took a lot away from that. There was a great presenter there, and I think you guys would all agree, Jenna, and I don't know how to say Jenna's last name, but Jenna hit on AI kind of in our industry, things that can help kind of fix our workflows and some efficiencies and things like that. She's actually got a course coming up. I think I've got it wrote down here, November 25th and December 2nd. It's only like, if you're not at the conference, I think it's $199. If you were, she's knocking $50 off. So I think I might take that and kind of learn some of it and see kind of how to streamline some workflows. I think there's some stuff in there that I can help create some more efficiencies, especially for our C3 team. So
can I jump in there real quick? Jess, just to introduce you a little bit more to those that maybe don't know you, what's your role at WOW Video Tours?
So I'm head of operations here, so a little bit of everything. I work with our editing teams and our support and scheduling team, which we call our client care coordinators. So, that's kind of what I do.
Now, Steve, your goals were slightly different. If you just want to, again, I should have asked, that's a great question, Craig. But Steve, just for those of you that don't know you, what's your title? What's your goals here? What do you do here at WOW for us? And then how were your goals, or what were your goals for going out and attending these conferences?
Yeah, absolutely. So those that don't know me, my name is Steve Musser. I'm the director of sales and marketing here at WOW Video Tours. And so my goal within the company obviously is to manage the sales team and just continue to build those relationships with our clients and expand our not only our markets, but just, bringing in new clients to the WOW umbrella, letting them know what we can do for them, and making sure that we take the best care of our clients on that side of things as well. So my main goal going out to the conferences there in Vegas, a couple different things. One, to connect. That was number one on my list. So not only to connect to people, that are in the industry, but vendors specifically, which is nice to kind of put some faces to names that we've talked to in the past, meet new people, meet new products and services that we can kind of examine, see how they fit in our business, and see if it's something that can help us improve our workflows, our quality, our processes, everything along those lines. So that was a great aspect. And then connect with other people in the industry, just to see. And it doesn't, the great thing about it is it doesn't matter if they're a solopreneur, to where it's just them and their business and they're just starting off and they're looking to expand, or maybe they're not. Some people are just looking to keep that business to just themselves and kind of move forward that way as well. or if they have a small team or a large team. There's all kinds of people that you can connect with, and going into it with an open mind, just knowing that, no matter the size, no matter the volume, anything along those lines, there's still great information to learn from everybody there at the conference. And so that was a great aspect, just to be able to connect and learn more about, how people are handling certain issues, or what issues are affecting them that may be different than us. And those might be coming down the pipeline for us down the road, and vice versa. So that was a great aspect as well. And then anytime you get to get out and just kind of be in the middle of those conferences and be with all those people, another aspect that you get out of it just kind of re-energizes you. So you come back to it with a fresh mindset. You're stuck in the day-to-day sometimes in the work world, and sometimes just getting out of that and seeing other people in the same industry and hearing their stories and what they're working on and new technology coming up and everything else. It just, once you get back to the office, you're energized, ready to go and take the business to the next level.
Let me ask a question, just an open question for any of you. So we went to two conferences this year, the REPP Conference with Eli Jones and his team, and the PMRE Conference as well. What would you say are the differences between the two? Say somebody's trying to consider whether they're going to go to either or both of those next year in 2025. What were the differences between the conferences, and what would help somebody decide which conference to go to or to go to both?
My thoughts on that, just to kind of give my breakdown, is with PMRE, it was a lot of great content. It was more higher level content. So it wasn't getting into the specifics of, do this and then do that. It was more about, just kind of refocusing on what you're doing and new trends and whatnot hitting the market. And it was filled with a lot of great people to connect with and learn from on that side of things. And on the flip side of that, from my perspective with REPP, with the conference there, that was a little bit more down to the details, to where you just kind of take away all the barriers. You share, more so with your business, connect with other people, share what's happening personally with you and your business, what you're working on, and you just get so much information from that, as far as ways that you can take back to your own business and then help improve. And honestly, while you're there, if you can help others, there's no greater feeling than that as well.
Jess, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, that is honestly, Steve really hit it on there. Like, I felt like PMRE was kind of the state of the industry and kind of where it's headed. But for me, like when I jumped over to the REPP and like we did the breakout sessions and things like that, it's it's just much more personal. It's hitting on a personal level, like the questions that they're asking, the things they're pulling out of you, the relationships that you're building kind of there are very tight knit.
I think one of you said this, and maybe both. I think we all agreed. So PMRE with Brandon Cooper, and love Brandon, love his wife. They're so generous. They're just great hosts, and they put on an incredible visual experience. I know this is a big goal of Brandon's. So at the Palm, we have the big media room. You walk through kind of this hall of mirrors that has LED monitors overhead. PMRE logos up there, really visual. So for all of us in this visual industry, that is neat. You walk into a huge room, and it, the theater room, and huge LED wall behind it. Again, in the ceiling is circular LEDs all around the room. There's branding everywhere. There's signs everywhere. It took me back to my days in high school when I had two 15-inch subwoofers in the trunk of my car and a big amp. I mean, you felt that in your chest, like you're like, like the music kicks in and like you feel that stuff. And it's like, so visual audio, like it is done what you would expect in Vegas, like of a Vegas show.
There were thunderstorms and fog, and like it was insane, the bass that was going on in that room when they were giving some of the presentations. But like it was an immersive experience for sure. Like he did a wonderful job in that aspect.
In comparison, just to a visual standpoint, the REPP Conference is still in Vegas. LED wall behind the presenters, not as big now. So you're in more of a conference style room. Circular tables where you're sitting at. There's other auxiliary lights and things like that. A nice MC at both events. So that's visual, kind of the difference of what was for me. And then I think content-wise is where there's a big divide as well. And I think we kind of conclude this as we conclude this as a team, that PMRE is really a conference for photographers. So you're going to go there and you'll get the photo critique with Tony, Wayne, and Frazier. They're going to look at photos. You'll have architectural talk. Devin did a fabulous talk on content. Devin Pastorius, if you're not familiar with him, just the mind and the creative mind, the marketing mind he has is fabulous. There's a couple presentations on AI. There was a copyright presentation. So that was kind of the genre of types of things that were presented. There was a couple panels. On the flip side at REPP, I would categorize this more as a business conference. So it happens, everyone there that has a business happens to have a real estate photography business. But this was more the business of your real estate media business. So you're not going to get things like how to shoot photos, critiquing photos. We didn't talk about copyright. Not that those things aren't important and vice versa with either conference, but it's just interesting the way the two conferences were geared. At REPP, you're looking at things like a lot of mindset. As business owners, we need to change our mindset. To some very structural things like Steve mentioned, how to hire photographers. What's the process? Colleen did a fabulous job. The culture that she's trying to build, how culture plays into growing and scaling a successful team, when she did it, how she did it, where she posted it. So some very concrete things there. And then we heard from a lot of people, Scott, Kevin, other panels of individuals, of people that just gave some lifelike or some life scenarios of how they grew their business. So I think at the end of the day, fantastic visuals at PMRE. It's a show that you're going to. You're going to get photo industry items. You're going to get a few. I don't want to say there was no business items there. There are some marketing things. But on the contrast with REPP, you're going to go to a good show. You're going to see and hear it fine. You're going to get some concrete things about the business of your real estate photography, business and how to do those things. And also there was a little bit more time at REPP to connect with others. They did a few breakout sessions where people with like-sized businesses would sit around a table and they gave you some prompts to talk about. So it was like photographers helping photographers or business owners helping business owners.
So let me ask you a question for Steve and Jess. With you guys, this being your first time going in, I remember the first year I went with Todd, just being a little, I don't want to say apprehensive or anxious, but it's a new experience. It's Vegas, right? We're coming from Northwest Ohio. I had a little bit of nerves. What were your nerves like, and what did you experience? Was it as if you've, I guess I'm not sure exactly how to phrase the question. Just what was your experience as a first-time attender, and what surprised you?
Sure, I can start if you like.
Yeah.
I don't know that anything surprised me, but so I'm a little bit, I don't know that if everyone really knows this, I'm a little bit more of an introverted extrovert, I guess. Like I have a very difficult time going up and just talking to people like on my own, but I did, like that was a goal of mine there, was to just go and tell myself to go network and walk the room and talk to people, because that's why we're there, right? To do that, to learn from everyone. So I was, yes, Craig, very intimidated walking into those rooms with tons of people. I don't know how many people were actually there, but some of those conference, little vendor rooms and things like that we were in were pretty jammed packed. And, you got groups of people that have been attending this conference for years together and just kind of come together and are their own little cliques and things like that, having fun. But what I found is everyone was really open to new people and still talking and, getting to know you. And honestly, there were people from Ohio and California and Texas, and meeting them and making connections and stuff like that. There was quite a few people from Ohio, mainly the Cleveland area, that I made some connections with. And, it was just good to hear how they're all doing and connect and see what's working well for them and what they're struggling with. So, yeah.
Let me set Steve's up real quick. So the question was anything that surprised you. So I want to set this up real quick. So Steve, this was the first time on a plane for Steve, first time flying. So
really?
Yes. So when we booked the seat, just naturally, we wanted to get him a great window seat. So Steve, how surprised were you with the window seat going out to Vegas?
The views were excellent. I have no complaints whatsoever. No, as soon as we got on the plane, so we sit down and we made sure I had a window seat ready to go, and of course sit down, and I'm sitting right next to the bulkhead, so there's no window at all next to my seat. So I missed out on all those amazing views on the way out. But luckily, even though it was that night, on the way back, I did have a window and was able to kind of take that in. So that was a nice experience. Just missed it one way.
I just love Steve. And Steve, for those of you that don't know Steve has the most fabulous, witty, quick sense of humor. He cracks me up. So Shannon, we were in a group text. So Shannon flew out separately of Steve, Jess, Nick, and I. And Shannon she flew out that morning. She's sending these beautiful pictures from out the window. And then Steve has the window seat, but he's got a wall right beside him. So Steve sends his pictures, and it's just this beige wall. It's like, hey, and he sent like 3 or 4 of them. It was just cracking up.
Yeah, I had to laugh with it. It's one of those things where, expectations were one thing, reality was another. So you just kind of have to roll with it and laugh.
I could see memes coming out of that somehow. I don't know.
I mean, especially when you spend just a little bit more on your ticket so you can pick your seat and sit in a little bit more of a comfortable seat. And so we picked our seats, and that happened.
That's funny. Okay, so at the conference itself, what was your biggest surprise?
Yeah, going into it, I was excited. Like I said, my main goal was to connect and just get to meet a lot of people that I've met virtually that I haven't got to meet in person. So that was a nice experience. But that was my number one goal. And I will say, from my perspective, PMRE was a great event, a lot of good information, and very social to where everybody was willing to connect and just build new relationships. It was, from my perspective, people were a little bit more guarded out of that conference as far as just sharing some information when it gets down to like specifics, if that makes sense. Whereas going into REPP, that was more of the experience that I think I was looking forward to. Just everybody, like I said, tore down those barriers, and it didn't matter if you were doing, you were just starting off or you have an established business. People were sharing information. It was more collaboration over competition. And so people were just willingly sharing information and sharing best practices. And honestly, that's where I learned the most and what I like to get out of, because hopefully, had a lot of questions come up to me, and different things we're doing within WOW. And hopefully I was able to provide some really good value for all of those questions. And I had questions of my own for other people that I met for the first time, and just got to kind of see what other people are doing, how they're doing it well, what problems they're experiencing. And it lets us stay ahead of it in our business as well. And same for them.
Okay, Todd, let me do kind of a round robin real quick here. Let me ask you, was there any standout speaker at each of the conferences? And, if there was a particular individual, what was the one point that really stood out from that speaker? And we'll just kind of go around the circle here.
My standouts. So I'm a bit skewed because I spent a lot of my time at PMRE at the vendor hall, because the vendor hall was separate this year. So I didn't actually spend a lot of time like normal in with the presentations. I'm going to go back and rewatch Devin. I think Devin Pastorius, I really enjoy him. The creativity is just mind blowing to me, the things that he comes up with. Steve and Jess shared some of the example videos that he used that they were creating. I think they're fabulous. So that's one I'm going to go back and rewatch. At REPP, so the thing was, these were all real estate photographers that probably had started in the last maybe max 3 or 4 years, and how they scaled their business. So really cool takeaways from all of them. Colleen Kidd, if you guys have not heard Colleen, she is such an inspiration.
Oh my gosh,
and oh my goodness, what just a powerhouse of inspiration from her. Great things. I thought Scott Golmick did fabulous. Scott's really tall too. Scott's like, he's like about my height. So I thought he had the idea of like zooming out on your business. And that was a cool idea. Kevin had a really great presentation and a flow chart that showed about like how his referrals worked. So I know I'm not giving you one, but I thought everybody was great. There's people I'm missing. This is one of those things that really taking time to go back and let it sink in is what I need to do, and maybe take some notes down. But that's what stood out in my mind.
Awesome. Steve, how about you?
Yeah, with PMRE, I think there was two standouts in my mind. I love Devin and his presentation just on content and what they're producing, and just getting back to basics, and just kind of recentralizing on being purposeful with the content you're creating. So that was a great topic there. And then Jenna was great with the AI. I'm no stranger to AI. I'm not using it anywhere close to its potential, and so that was just kind of re-energizing to see how she's using it in her day-to-day and just operating her business with AI. And so it kind of re-energized me to where, after that, I'm on my computer in the hotel room researching everything and trying to build it out. So that was a good presentation there. With REPP, I got to say, I don't know if I had a single standout. I was excited and got as much value out of every single one.
Awesome.
I mean, I love the topics, as far as just hearing their real life experiences and what they're doing. And the difference with REPP is you have some people on stage that they're not traveling the country or the world giving presentations. This is their kind of first time on stage, or they have, not a lot of experience on stage. So they're not presenters by career, I guess, or whatever I'm trying to relay there. They're just actually giving their real life experience as far as what they're doing, what's helped them, maybe some issues they've fallen into, things along those lines. So it's hard for me to pick one from REPP. I really liked every single one of them that we listened to, and I've went back and listened to them again since we left.
I like your point there of, they're not traveling presenters. They're in the trenches, just like we are with our everyday business, and just that ability to share real life stories and experiences and how it can help other people. That's cool. Awesome.
And they all did an amazing job. So they're not traveling the world presenting, but you wouldn't know that by listening to them. They all did fantastic on that side of things too.
Right. And not to say that those that travel and present, nationally and internationally don't have their value as well, but it's nice to have the two different perspectives. That's very cool. Jess, what about you?
I think for me at PMRE, again, like the people that were talking about AI, like Jamie McAnally, he said, how to not fear AI, but, embrace it and open it, be open with it. And then with Jenna, like all the tools that she's using to help streamline things in her business with AI. Again, like Todd talked, like the visual, the creatives that are creating with intent. I loved that phrase there. The commercials, what I call commercials, that they were kind of creating. At one point, I don't know if Steve was sitting next to me or not, but I was bawling watching some of the emotional commercials that, and then I was hysterically laughing, dying, rolling over, watching one of the other ones where they had like a family walking in and, don't curse around my daughter. And the next thing you know, the mom is cursing because the house is so cool. And then you've got inflatable guys with arms flailing around, grabbing attention in a house. And you've got a dog commercial that's like, I'm bawling like a baby. And just there's a lot of talented people in that room that know how to pull those emotions out of you. I really enjoyed those presentations. There was the third day was more centered around, I think, an architectural type of style. And I really liked Brandon. I think his name was, Brandon Barr. He has shot places all over the world, like hotels and things like that. And the way that he did like scouting and delivery was really interesting to me. He'd go around and shoot on an iPhone. He'd go and they would pick kind of the visuals that they want. And those are the scenes that they would create, because I guess, so I don't know a lot about this industry, but they're paid per photo, not just like per shoot. And the way that he worked with lighting and things like that were all extremely interesting to me. So that was one thing like that conference did hit on, is kind of more of like the setup, like the behind the scenes stuff that photographers do. I don't think we really hit on any of that at the rep group, but like Brandon uses like what he'd call, I think, black flags or something like that for hot light sources to create kind of the lighting in the photos, and then some with lights on, some with lights off. So all of those things, like the photo nerd in me was like just eating those things up. It was extremely, extremely interesting. I've never left a conference more, and I shot portrait photography and things like that. But after listening to both, I've never left somewhere wanting to be a real estate photographer more in my life. Like, I'm going to go master this industry. I can do this. Look at all this amazing information I have. I think I would say that for both conferences, like putting them both together, you walk out of it feeling so energized, like I can do anything with the information that I've just gained. And the rep group for me, again, yes, Colleen's amazing, amazing, amazing. I loved her presentation on everything. She really hit the mark. Like you can tell, like her care level. Her and I get along really well in that sense. Like it's really important to me for like our clients, our teammates, all of us to feel really valued. I think we all want that, and Colleen gets that. Whether it's her photographers, her VAs that she uses, her clients. I think that was one of the, highlights was listening to her talk. But there was a lot. There was groups up there that like I was just taking so much away from. The way some people go to open houses and chat with realtors and things like that to get business, to just hyping it all up. It was like Steve said, I took something away from every single one of them. I don't think there wasn't a moment where I didn't have a smile on my face listening to people talk at Rep. It was wonderful.
Very cool. You got, all three of you have mentioned two names a couple of times in this episode, and that's Devin Pastorius and Colleen Kidd, both of which have been guests here on the Spiro podcast. So we'll tag those so you can go back and watch those, watch or listen to those episodes if you haven't seen those. Both, incredible people in our industry that we can learn a lot from. And that kind of stuck out at me as you were all talking. Todd, what other thoughts do you have?
Yeah, what was the most fun? Jess, go. Most fun thing we did.
I mean, you having us come was like a huge highlight. Like it was nice just to go. Both conferences were amazing. I can't say there was one thing that stood out most about the other. Getting together as a team and like some team bonding and stuff like that was great. Going down to, I think, Fremont Street, we went with a group of some other photographers and industry people. And that was a huge highlight. It was nice just to relax and enjoy each other. But, when you're enjoying each other, you're still talking business, but it was like just in a really positive light. And some of the connections I made with some really insane, amazing individuals out there. That was the highlight for me.
Yeah, that was fun. Craig, when you go next year, I guess if you go, sorry, I didn't mean to say that. We'll edit that out. If you go next year, we will not take you to Fremont Street. Okay. No, I had blinders on a lot of times. I was walking fast, walking through. We had some really good tacos there. Jess danced with a humongous gorilla in the street. And there was some other things as well. So cheap souvenirs on Fremont Street. So it was a great trip. I think Marshall, Scott, Matt, and
Austin.
Who else went?
Austin.
Yeah. That's right. Austin Sauer went with us. So that was a good time. I love that as well. Steve, what about you? Most fun thing that we did there?
First would have to be just the views on the way to Vegas. I can't beat that. So got to recall that again. No, but just what you guys said. Honestly, just meeting a lot of the people that I have met virtually, was nice. Just being able to meet one-on-one with a lot of those people. Fremont Street was definitely the most entertaining as far as that goes. That's one that you don't really get that experience anywhere else in the United States. So that's a unique experience there. So
yeah.
And then just having the people along with us was great.
The question begs, do you want the experience like Fremont Street anywhere else in the United States?
No, we can keep it there. It was fun though.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot going on at the same time, but it's a unique experience that was fun. So, and then having good company with us, it just made it even that much better.
I did win $150, Craig.
Oh, did you?
Yes, you
I
did.
put $20 in a slot machine. I said, this is the only time I'm going to gamble. I'm not a gambler. I put $120 in. I hit the button, 150, cashed out.
Did you walk away?
I cashed out immediately.
She did.
I did.
Good for you.
Bought my souvenirs for my kids and a sweatshirt for me.
I left even finally, which is good. But yeah, my unique experience was I won 2 gifts and had to find out how to take home a pot and pan and a hand mixer in my luggage that I won in the casino. So
I bet TSA was scratching their head on that one.
yeah, I was a little worried about that one. I didn't know how that was going to go through TSA, so they didn't seem too concerned.
That's funny. So Todd, let me ask you, if you were speaking directly to the person that's never been to one of these conferences and maybe they just started their business or they've had a business for a couple of years, what would you say to that person that has never been?
Yeah, I'd say go. It's an incredible time. This is a time where no matter how extroverted you are, you're pushed a little bit out of your boundaries just because the amount of people that are there in Vegas. I think it's great to go and connect with people. You will make friends that you take away, that you connect with. It was great to see so many of you, like to have you guys come up and say hello, to hear about you, to finally see you in person. Moeen brought me Canadian organic maple syrup, which was fabulous. Michael brought this just incredible Swiss chocolate. He's in Switzerland. Oh, it was the best chocolate ever. Yeah,
So
it was
good.
incredible. Yeah, and just to talk to everybody and to spend time with people. The human to human aspect thing for me was just kind of an out of body experience to have you guys come up and say hello. It still is crazy that you guys would come up and recognize me. Is just weird because I live in the middle of a cornfield. So that was a cool experience for me. But it was neat to connect with you guys, and I had so many of you come up and talk to me about your faith that it was just incredible to do that. So thank you for coming up and sharing those stories with me. That was a huge takeaway and a key highlight of mine.
And I'll say, other than the first year that you and I went, Todd, I haven't been, but that was my biggest takeaway too, was connecting with people. And I'll point out one guy in particular, Pete Stagel. He and I, and you, Todd, as well, we've just really hit it off. And this past summer, he happened to be coming through Northwest Ohio, him and his wife taking a motorcycle vacation, riding thousands of miles. And he reached out and said, "Hey, I'm coming down 75 and I'm going to be going right past you. Do you want to connect?" I'm like, "Absolutely." So Pete and I, after meeting at PMRE, what was that, 2-3 years ago, still able to continue our friendship, as colleagues in the same business, that we have a lot of things that we can connect to each other on. To be able to ride down 75 and grab dinner with him and his wife, that's just the sorts of relationships. Again, it goes back to relationships that we can build in this industry. We love what we do, right? I would say most of us, we love the industry that we're in. We like the work that we do. And we value and love the relationships we're able to build. So I'd agree, Todd. If you've never been, make the investment in yourself, make the investment in your team, and check out one or the other or both of those conferences, PMRE and REPP. It'll be good for you personally, and be good for your business as well.
Yeah, and let me just echo that shout out to Pete. Pete's a fantastic individual. Craig, his wife, was with him this time, so we got to meet her. Yeah. Jess and Shannon connected. They got to spend some time together, so a lot of fun there. Pete is the owner. He was a real estate. Oh, that was fun, Jess. You just had hearts on your screen.
Because I love his wife so much.
Look at that. That is.
Is that a feature on our recording platform here? I've never seen that.
I don't know.
I don't think they're here in real life, but so maybe.
No, it's not working for me.
But it was great to see Pete and his wife. And also Pete just exited from his real estate media business and to focus on Pixel CRM. So huge shout out to him. That's Pixl CRM. It's a CRM geared for real estate media businesses. And he doing some really cool things. So he's got an incredible marketing mind. He had this backpack that had these LEDs on the back that was really cool that Shannon wanted. I tried to buy it from Pete. And
just for the record, Pixel CRM is not sponsoring this podcast. It's just
no, but I'm going to send him an invoice, Craig. Pete.
I do have to say, Pete came through with the Pixel CRM caps because as soon as we got back to Ohio, within a couple days, we had an inch of snow on the ground. So I was wearing mine yesterday.
Yeah, the beanie caps we had, yeah.
Yes.
And actually, he gave me a beanie cap, and I don't wear. You guys know me. If you saw me in Vegas, you realize how large my head is. Like I just don't wear hats. I put the beanie cap on, took a picture of Pete. Like I'm all for Pixel CRM. It's just the fact that I have a really large head. But I think the beanie cap actually makes me look a little bit younger. So I don't know. I might go back to the beanie, but I can't skateboard, so I don't know. I'm just mumbling now. Craig, save the ship here.
I would say this episode is going off the rails.
Save the ship.
Well, if you can't tell, guys, we like to have fun. Vegas is a ton of fun. It's educational. So that, Steve, Jess, thank you so much for joining Todd and I this week and just sharing your experience as new attendees with those that are listening and watching. We appreciate you both so much.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great experience and love getting to come on here and kind of give a recap of what we went through.
Yep, it was a blast. Thanks for having us, Craig.
Awesome. Well, Todd, any final thoughts as we wrap things up here?
Just a quick one. I really am looking forward to going back next year with Jess, Steve, you, Craig, and the rest of the team. It's a good time. It's time to invest in your business. And the energy, we mentioned that a lot. There is a good energy. And even after doing this for 20 years, I came back just as energized as Steve and Jess described. If you can make it, it really is great. If you didn't make it, I believe both conferences recorded it. I'm not 100% sure, but reach out to them, see if you can get those recordings. There's some really good content in there that's worth at least watching, as we're in slow season here in the States.
Well, that's going to wrap things up again for another week of the Spiro podcast. Again, we just want to say thank you to each and every one of you that did come up to our team at the conference, that were there and said hello and introduced yourselves. We really do love connecting with you guys and sharing knowledge, encouraging each other, sharing tips on how to make our businesses better, because that's the whole point of the Spiro podcast is how do we make stronger and more efficient and just better businesses. Lots of great resources out there on photography and videography and the creative side of what we do. But we want to really try and be a resource for you that builds a strong business for you. So thank you guys so much for saying hello. For those of you that weren't able to make it, maybe next year we'll be able to connect. And again, just thank you for watching and listening to this podcast. We're very humbled by that, and we don't take that for granted. We do like to ask you, if you found value in the podcast, be sure to subscribe so you get the notification when a new episode drops. And of course, liking and sharing just helps us get this information out to more and more people. So thank you guys. We appreciate you. For those of you here in the U.S. celebrating Thanksgiving, this should drop on Monday or Tuesday. We record on Fridays, but we want to say happy Thanksgiving to you, and you guys have a great week. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Make sure you take some time to be thankful for the blessings in your life, especially in this season of Thanksgiving, and make sure you take a breath. Have a great week.
Thank you for joining us for the Spiro Podcast, Managing Your Real Estate Photography and Videography Business. This is a production of Spiro and WOW Video Tours. You can find out more about Spiro's real estate media business management software at our website, spiro.media.